Hello, everyone. Welcome into Picks and Parlays Power Hour. We are live Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm your host, Hannah Mears. You can find me on Twitter at HannMears. I do a daily Mearsy Minute giving you my free picks, and you can also check it out by subscribing, following along to our Picks and Parlays YouTube. With that being said, let's bring in our first guest of the day, Craig Trapp. Craig, hello.
How are we doing? Week 5 of college football, week 4 of NFL. Where has the season gone already?
It's flying by, and I hope your bets are doing well. We've got one today, Stanford at Oregon. But first, you've got a little promo that everyone can play along with. So why don't you go ahead and explain that for everybody?
Yeah, we always have a 2-for-1 capper, but usually it's like $235 or something. So right now, 50% off, just $114.99. To get that link, free 2-for-1 cappers, 7 days. You pick your favorite two. Could be me, could be any of the other ones. You just pick your favorite two. Picksandparlays.net /double. That's the only way to get that sale. So make sure you put that exact URL in.
Craig's always got some great insight, so he would be a great one to go ahead and hit up that deal with. But Stanford at Oregon, this game, I believe, opened at 15.5. It's now in favor of Oregon at 17, total at 64. Oregon has had the most productive offense in the Pac-12 so far this season, but what do you like in this game?
Well, two teams coming off different things. I mean, Oregon, maybe the most miraculous comeback I've ever seen in a short amount of time. It was like a couple minutes. They scored like a ridiculous, 14, 17 points, whatever it was. Oregon, obviously, they started off the year getting hammered by Georgia. Since then, though, I mean, this Oregon team, they beat two good teams. BYU, I think that Washington State team they beat last week at Washington State is going to be pretty good. And then Eastern Washington as well. So, but like you said, they've scored the last three games, 70, 41, and 44. They did start the year at just 3 points. And then Stanford, on the other hand, the last two games, they faced two pretty good teams. USC losing 41-28, and then at Washington 40-22 last week. And they are 0-for on the year, 0-for-3 against the spread. So I'm looking at a total. I think if I would play the side in this one, I definitely would be on Oregon -17. I just don't know how Stanford scores enough points. If Oregon scores their mid-40s, which I think they're going to, how do they even keep this within the number? So I think the safer play, you just say, hey, Stanford's going to have to play a little faster, do some extra things if they're going to want to even keep this close. I think Stanford throws a couple trick plays in. I think they're going to get us 25 to 26 points. I think Oregon will get us mid-40s. So I think this over is going to hit pretty easily, over 64. I think Oregon for the fourth straight game just puts up Madden type numbers, video game type numbers here.
Yeah, that 17 is a lot too, in a way, and not sure how it could go. So I think the safer bet is taking the over, especially with how that offense has looked. It's been fun. If you want some high scoring college football, tune into that game for sure. Thank you so much, Craig, for that. Make sure you subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We are live, Picks and Parlays Power Hour, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. All right, Craig, Picks and Parlays Power Hour. We are live, and we've got college football rapid fire, 5 games in 5 minutes. Well, maybe. We'll try to hit 5 minutes today. But what do you got for us? NCAA football rapid fire. Oklahoma State at Baylor. Baylor favored at -2, total 56.5. Who you got?
I actually think Oklahoma State should be a pretty big favorite. In fact, I thought they should be favored by 3.5 to 6 points. I just think that's how good this Oklahoma State team is. Baylor, I'm just not a believer in this offense. I know they did get that win at Iowa State last week. That was somewhat impressive. Iowa State, I think, is a sneaky good team. They did win 31-24. But I just think, this Oklahoma State team, they can win with defense or with offense. They can run the ball. They can pass the ball. They pretty much have it. And when you have that kind of balance on both sides of the ball, on both passing and running on offense, I think it's just a tough team. And I think that will travel very easily on the road. Let's take Oklahoma State plus the 2 in this one.
Yeah, +2 isn't that much either. I think they can cover that for sure. All right, what do we got next? Wake Forest at Florida State. Okay, I'm intrigued with this one because Wake Forest is always seeming to be that team. You can't be so sure what they're going to do. So Florida State, though, favored in this one, total at 65. Who do you like?
Yeah, I wonder. I didn't look up the advanced lines in this one, but I'm guessing if before the season, most people wouldn't have expected to see Florida State undefeated at this point. A lot of people out there were thinking maybe Wake Forest was a sleeper pick to win the ACC. They did lose in overtime against Clemson last week. Now you see Florida State, just because they're undefeated, now they're favored by 7. I just think that's probably like the wrong team. Too many points at least. I think Wake Forest probably covers. I think the stronger play is on the over here because when you look at these two teams, if you're going to beat Wake Forest, you got to score points. And this Florida State team, their ability to pass and run the ball, pretty balanced attack on offense. I think they'll be able to score. Wake Forest isn't a great defense, let's be honest. So I like the over here. I think this would be one of the higher scoring games of the weekend, and I think this one goes well over the total.
All right. I like that pick. Craig, go ahead and tell everybody what kind of promo you have going on. We have 3 more games to cover in rapid fire, but first tell everybody what they can do. It's kind of special.
Yeah, 2 for 1. So you get any 2 cappers right now if you use that promo code, or not a promo code, picksandparlays.net/double. 50% off. It's usually $230. Today, just $114.99. So get in on that. Pick your favorite 2 experts. Can be me, can be any of the experts at Picks and Parlays, and you get 7 days of their all sports package.
All right, who do we got next? We have NC State at Clemson. Clemson favored at -6.5, but don't underestimate this Wolfpack team. I mean, I don't know. They've been pretty solid at some points in the season. Total at 40. What do you like?
This is a tough NC State team to kind of figure out. I mean, that opening game, I keep just thinking back to that opening game where they were, in control and they just couldn't pull away. And now you face a Clemson team that's much more talented. Like this isn't Eastern Carolina that they struggled with the opening game. I know it was at Eastern Carolina, but Eastern Carolina lost to Navy, which is not good. To me, I think this Clemson team, they're finally figuring it out on offense. I mean, I think their defense is really good, but they're finally figuring it out. I think as they continue to improve on offense, this is going to be a very dangerous team. This is a sneaky, tough game for them coming off of that overtime win against Wake, but I still going to take Clemson -6.5. I just think, at home, Death Valley is just a tough place to play. I'm going to take Clemson -6.5 here.
Yeah, it's going to be a good test for Clemson, and they need some. They need to push themselves, get back to their old groove. What do we got next? We got our 4th game, Illinois at Wisconsin. Wisconsin favored at -7. The total at 43. But Craig Trapp, what are you picking?
2 teams that love to run the ball. I mean, like, love to run the ball. So if you like running teams, these are your 2 teams to watch. Bielema, obviously, was a former Wisconsin coach. So this has I think I would definitely take Illinois if I was taking these points. I think him and his team will get up for this. But I think the safer play, you just say, hey, there's not going to be a ton of possessions. Might be the least amount of possessions in any game this weekend as both teams just grind that clock. Let's take the under 43 here, as I think these are not terrible defenses. And when you protect your defense by running the ball as much as they do, I think the under is an easy play here, 43.
Is there a prop bet for rushing yards in this game? Maybe look into that as well. What do we got next? LSU at Auburn. Craig, I watched this Auburn team right in front of my eyes. Yikes is all I had to say. LSU favored in this one, but I got to know what you're thinking.
I think we're getting out of hand here thinking that LSU is just because Coach Kelly's in there, that they lost that opener with that missed extra point that should have sent into overtime, and then who knows what happens. And then a lot of people, like you said, they kind of remember what Auburn got, what Penn State did to Auburn. And so I think that has like a little hangover effect. And so thus, instead of getting, I think it should be 6.5 to 7 LSU favorite. Now we see LSU at 9. I think it's just too many points. This is an Auburn team that keeps it close, I think, in this one. This team, they're built to beat teams in the SEC. I think they'll keep this game lower scoring than what people think. I mean, you see a total 45. You definitely think you're going to be a lower scoring game. I mean, on a total like that, I think 9 seems like way too many. Let's take Auburn +9. I think the public's going to be all over LSU. We're on the other side of the public here.
All right. War Eagle, baby. Auburn +9. Thank you so much, Craig. Make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We are live Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. If you love this power hour, thanks, Craig. Appreciate you. We are live on Picks and Parlays Power Hour. I'm your host, Hannah Mears, and we are live Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Now it's time to bring in my next guest. We have Lee. Hello, Lee. We've got some college football to talk. I'm really excited to tell everybody how well we've been doing with NFL picks as well. But let's start off first, not get ahead of ourselves. Oklahoma at TCU. Oklahoma favored at -6.5. This line opened, I think, around 4.5. Big 12 rivals, TCU undefeated. Tell me, what are you excited about?
You know what? I'm not going to look at a side in this game right now, but I do like the total. I like under 68.5 points. This game opened 66 and it was immediately bet up. Heavy money, heavy tickets on the over. It's up to 68.5, 69. I think a lot of that has to do with last week's results for both teams. Oklahoma played Kansas State. They scored 75 total points. TCU, SMU, they scored 76 total points. But in both those games, 28 total points combined, and both games came in the last 2 minutes and 31 seconds. So if we don't get those late scores in those games, they finish in the low 60s. When I look at the defenses, the Sooners are 47th in yards per game allowed. More importantly, they're 17th in yards per play allowed at 4.4. That's a much more important number than total yards per game. 78th in yards per game allowed at 412, but their yards per play defense is much better. They're 46th at 5.1. Offensively, two different styles here. TCU wants to play really slow. They're 114th in plays per second. Oklahoma is 6th. They're the 6th fastest offense in the nation. But Oklahoma's yards per point is not very good. It's 48th in the nation at 12.7. TCU is 32nd in yards per point allowed. Oklahoma's defense is 15th in yards per point allowed defensively. So they've got a solid defense. It's a big number. The under's 9-4 the last 13 meetings. I'm going to side with under.
All right. So he's going the under 68.5 in that one. Lee, we also have a really cool promo going on that Craig was describing to everyone earlier. So take advantage of any two cappers, 7 days, 50% off, just $114.99. Picksandparlays.net/double. Thank you so much, Lee. If you want more of what we have to offer, like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We're live Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. All right, Lee, I heard you've been doing pretty good so far in some primetime games, 6-2 in the last 8 NFL primetime TV games. And this time we have Cardinals and Panthers. Panthers favored at -1.5. What? The total at 42.5. And Christian McCaffrey, I just got word, his thigh is maybe a little bit injured. So will he play? How much will he play? We don't know yet. It may have changed your thoughts last minute, but I want to know overall how you're evaluating this one.
Yeah, we're going to side with the Cardinals here plus the 1.5. It's interesting you brought up the line on this game. Last year when these two teams met, Colt McCoy was a starting quarterback for Arizona, and the Cardinals were a 7-point home favorite. So the swing with Kyler Murray starting here under center for Arizona isn't enough. So we do like Arizona plus the points here. Both teams are 1-2 to start the season, but their strength of schedule is drastically different. Arizona's played the 4th toughest schedule, Carolina the 30th. If we look at their season yards per game outlook, Carolina has been outgained in 2 of 3 games. They barely outgained the Giants by 10 yards. Arizona's outgained 2 of their 3 opponents this season. They put up 353 yards per game, and that's facing 2 top-tier defenses in the Chiefs and the Rams. Panthers' offense has been bad. They're 30th in total yards per game, 31st in passing, 14th in rushing. They only have 5 offensive touchdowns on the season. Against the Rams against the 73 yards, 12 first downs, and 5 yards per play, so not good. I think the Panther defense is overvalued. Last week, they allowed a Saints offense that struggled. The Saints put up 426 yards in that game, 6.7 yards per play. Carolina benefited from 3 forced turnovers, 1 for a score. As far as Arizona is concerned, it's interesting, and some guys might want to consider a halftime wager on this game. Arizona's offense in their games so far this season, I think they've been outscored 13-53 or 13-56 in the first half of games this year. So they've struggled. Kyler Murray only has 1 explosive play on the season of 30-plus yards. But I think they'll get right this week against this Panther defense. Arizona is 19-6-1 against the spread their last 27 regular season games as a road dog. They've won 7 straight times as a road underdog. Cardinals just 3-10 against the spread their last 13 as a favorite. That's dating back to 2020. I like Arizona to get a win here.
Yeah, I would say Arizona, no matter what, too, Christian McCaffrey or not. I really would like siding with the Cardinals in this one. Kyler Murray, I could just see him. He makes some late comebacks, even if he has to be a second half team with his offense. I like him way better than I do a Panthers team led by Baker Mayfield. All right. Thank you so much, Lee, I appreciate it. Remember, everyone, take advantage of the promo popping up below. You can go ahead and look for any two of our cappers the next 7 days, 50% off, just $114.99. Go to picksandparlays.net/double. Thanks so much, Lee. Make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. Power Hour is live Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. All right, we are live on Picks and Parlays Power Hour, live Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. I'm your host, Hannah Mears, and it's time to bring in my next guest, Dan the Man. All right, Dan, we've got some college football to talk right now. Purdue at Minnesota, number 21, Minnesota. They're favored at -12.5. This line opened at 9.5. But Purdue has been kind of hard for me to believe in this season, and against a Minnesota Gophers team that is undefeated so far, total at 52. What do you feel about this game?
Yeah, there was a lot of high expectations for Purdue coming into this game. They haven't really lived up to those expectations. That's why in Big Ten country they're known as Purdue.
Yeah.
But Aiden O'Connell came in, Heisman Trophy candidate. He's had a pretty decent year. He's thrown for 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns and an interception. But he missed the last game against FAU, a game in which Purdue won 28-26. And his status for this game is kind of up in the air. Coach Jeff Brom said they'd like to get him back in there, but the injury he has, it may take a couple of weeks. So that kind of throws a monkey wrench into this game. Minnesota, I mean, what can you say? They came off on an impressive win against my Spartans last week. Sorry, Lenny, I'm not sure if it was all that impressive. I mean, our Spartans are just bad this year. Tanner Morgan's looking good, 886 yards, 7 touchdowns, an interception. Muhammad Ibrahim, I mean, I think that guy should play for Purdue. He seems to be at Minnesota for like 8 years now. He's rushed for 567 yards and 8 touchdowns. I think this O'Connell injury is going to make a big difference if he can't go. Minnesota's defense has played really, really well this season. I'm not impressed with Purdue's offense all that much. So Minnesota's 24-9-1 in the last 34 games overall, 5-0 against the spread in the last 5 home games. I just think their defense is going to control Purdue. And I like Minnesota's offense. They can pass the ball, they can run the ball. I think that's going to cause Purdue some problems. Because Minnesota's not, you can't make Minnesota one-dimensional. I know the line's gone up, but I think it has to do with the O'Connell injury. But yeah. I still don't think it's going to matter, so I'm going to lay the 12.5 on Minnesota.
All right. I kind of like what you're doing with that one there as well. I would want to take Minnesota in this one. I've tried to, have Purdue at my mercy at times, and I just don't know if I believe in them this year. I don't, especially if they don't have O'Connell. I think that's the better pick. Thank you so much. Appreciate your pick, Dan. Remember, we are live Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. And don't forget to take advantage of our new promo going on. You can go ahead and see any two cappers. 50% off, just $114.99. Picksandparlays.net/double. That way you don't miss any of their insight with your sports betting picks. We are live, Power Hour, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. I'm here with Dan the Man, and we got Patriots at Packers. Packers favored at -9.5, the total at 40.5. Now, this line opened at 6.5. I think it has something to do maybe with the fact that Mac Jones is injured, because I don't know if I see the Packers as that much of a productive team to be that big of a favorite, total at 40 points. Don't really like the lines on this one, but I want to know what your opinion is.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the line either, but
yeah,
it is what it is. But this Patriots team, let's be honest, they weren't very good when Mac Jones was in there. I mean, again, I think I've had the Patriots on, I don't know if it's on this show, on some other show that I've talked about, they've gone with two, they don't really have an offensive coordinator in Matt Patricia or Joe Judge. It's their offense just looks terrible no matter who's under center. Somehow I keep getting these injured quarterbacks and Michigan State connections here because it looks like the Patriots will be going, at least starting a Brian Hoyer as their quarterback. I think you'll see Happy play some in this one, or they should play him some. I think that guy could be the quarterback of the future in New England. Damien Harris, he hasn't done much this season running the ball. They've got him and Ramon Stevens is combined for just 305 rushing yards. So they haven't been able to get it done through the air. They haven't been able to get it done on the ground. This Green Bay defense has really stepped up since the first game of the season. Yeah, I know what you're saying about the Packers offense. They only put up 14. Well, they put up the first 14 against the Tampa Bay, and held on for a win. But Tampa Bay always gives Aaron Rodgers trouble.
Yeah, and they have a good defense this season, but still, even overall, Aaron Rodgers has been struggling to find that wide receiver one, I think.
Right, and he might have found him in the last game. I can't remember. I think it's Rodgers. That guy had a big game against Tampa Bay. But I think they're coming along, and to be honest, they got time to work on that because with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, it's probably the best 1-2 rushing combination in the league. So they can control the ball on the ground. I think Rodgers will get some big plays in this one. New England's 0-4-1 in the last 5 games overall against the spread. I don't know. I just don't like this offense. I didn't like it with Mac Jones. I don't like it without Mac Jones.
Right.
I know it's a big line. The only thing that scares me of this is a late Brian Hoyer meaningless touchdown in the last minute. But barring that, I think the Packers will cover this number.
Yeah, and I think the Packers have, like you were saying, a good defense enough to keep it close and keep their offense on the field. Aaron Rodgers is going to pick momentum up at some point in the season. He's a veteran. He knows how to control the game. He usually does. And I think this is his chance to get his offense rolling, especially if the Patriots can't produce on the other side of the ball. I think if you're going to go a total in this game too, I'd be looking at the under. So if you don't love the spread, maybe look there because I don't see either of them producing that much. Especially if the Patriots are without Mac Jones. So I appreciate your insight. Always love talking some football with you, Dan. And make sure you take advantage of our promo we have going on right now. You can get the insight of 2 of our cappers, 50% off, just $114.99. Picksandparlays.net/double. Thank you so much for joining us, Dan.
Thank you.
Make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. Picks and Parlays Power Hour is live Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. I'm your host, Hannah Mears, and now it's time to bring in one of our Earl twins. We have Nick here with us today. Nick, we're going to talk some college football, Oregon State at Utah, but first, let's let everybody know what we've got going on. They can go ahead and go to picksandparlays.net/double. They can get the insight of any 2 of our cappers for 50% off, just $114.99. I don't know about you. I'd be doing it. I want all the insight. Nick's one of those people you can get insight from. We're going to get a little bit of his insight now. Oregon State at Utah. I feel like we always talk Utah. I don't know why. Utah is favored at 10.5. They're the number 12 team right now. Oregon State had a tough loss to USC. Utah's quarterback is in the talks of Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Year. How do you think that that's going to impact this game? What are you liking?
Yeah, looking at the spot for me here, I like to power rank my games. I use indexes, and what I came up with is I had Oregon State should be around an 8-point dog in this game, so I'm going to lean towards the underdog here, taking the 10.5 points of the Beavers here in this spot. Oregon State coming in off of a loss last week, but they covered, and they've covered all 4 weeks so far this season. They've been a really good ATS team. They beat BYU earlier, or Boise State earlier in the year, Fresno State, and then USC they covered. They played their style of football against USC though. They played that low scoring, tried to keep that power offense of USC off the field, and they almost pulled it off, the upset there. On the other side, Utah coming in, they're 3-1 against the spread. They've covered 3 straight since losing in the Swamp week 1. I can see this as one of those games where the Beavers enter through the back door, and it's like a 17-point game late, and they score a late touchdown to make it a 10-point game. I just think this is probably a little bit too many points here. This Oregon State team, I think, is better than people think it is, so I'm going to look to take the points in this one.
Yeah, I think that's a good bet too, especially because I think sometimes they just give too many points to a team that just is ranked really high like Utah. But at this point in the season, I'd be taking the points as well because they just haven't done enough to prove their worth at this point. Whereas Oregon State's coming in, like you said, they're going to be coming in hot. They're ready. They're ready to prove it. I'd be mad after that loss against USC as well, especially when you're so close. But thank you for your insight. Make sure you subscribe, ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss anything that Nick has to say here on Picks and Parlays. We're live on the Power Hour Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Nick, it's time to talk some NFL. Kansas City Chiefs at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Well, maybe. And Tampa Bay, sending thoughts and prayers to everyone down there right now. Hurricane Ian approaching, the total at 45. Chiefs favored in this one at -1. We'll get to that in a second. But if anybody is interested in our promo, you can get the insight of 2 of our cappers for the next 7 days, 50% off, just $114.99, picksandparlays.net/double. It's a great deal. You want to get the insight. You've got it all. Just take advantage of that listed below. But this Kansas City Tampa Bay game, Chiefs coming off a tough loss to the Colts, a Colts team that has looked very unimpressive and uninspiring at this point in the season. Bucs barely can score, though. I mean, Tom Brady has been frustrated, and they lost 14-12 to the Packers. Can't seem to get Aaron Rodgers and the Packers either. So I need to know how you think this one's going to play out with Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady.
Yeah, I was very happy with the way that the Chiefs performed last week. I was all over the Colts money line. It was great. I saw that coming from a mile away. But with this game, we have Patrick Mahomes. We have Tom Brady coming into this one. So, of course, we're going to take the under in this game, under 45. Obviously, if this game is being played on Sunday night and the conditions that we might see, there's probably going to be a lot of wind, which means we're probably going to see a lot of running the ball. Leonard Fournette, maybe someone to look at for props. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, another one to look for props if you guys are into props. I'm also looking towards the Buccaneers a little bit in this game. I have them more as a 3-point favorite, 3.5-point favorite at home. So I'm going to lean towards the Buccaneers at the +1 or just take them straight up in this game. I like the under here because another thing with the this is a primetime game. This is the Sunday night game. Is I've been riding the primetime unders all season long. They're 7-2-1. The only time you've lost are by a hook and by a late lateral fluky touchdown. Depending on the line you got at that Cleveland game. But the unders have been just rolling on primetime games, and you needed a ton of luck in order to catch the 2 overs that have hit this season. So for me, I'm going to continue to ride the primetime unders trend with this game, especially with 2 big-name quarterbacks like Mahomes and Brady. The public is going to look to slam the over in this game. And I'm going to look to go ahead and take this game under the total. So I'm looking at under 45 here.
I actually like the under in this one too, for the reasons you mentioned with the weather conditions potentially, but even if it's in, maybe it gets moved to a neutral location, who knows? I don't know. I really like the under too, because Tom Brady's been kind of uninspiring at the moment, even though he is the GOAT. They just
the Bucs have gone under all 3 games. Yeah,
but their defense has been fantastic. Elite. So I think that gives Patrick Mahomes a test, and he came out of that game against the Colts a little frustrated. And the Chiefs have a tendency sometimes to fall off a little bit early season and then peak at the right time and just blow things out of proportion. So I don't think it's a bad bet at all. I'd be looking at the under in this one as well. So I like that. Thank you so much, Nick. We appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. Picks and Parlays Power Hour. We're live Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. All right, Nick, something I love to talk about. Give me all the prop bets. I love the prop bets, especially in some Thursday night football. I love sitting down watching a Thursday night football game and not just having a bet on what's happening, but all the little things throughout the game as well. As I was explaining prop bets to my uncle last week, who was very confused by them, but now he's a big fan too. Miami Dolphins at Cincinnati Bengals. We are not sure if Tua Tagovailoa is going to be making an appearance, but for more insight on all of these games, you can go to picksandparlays.net/double. You can pick 2 of our cappers, any of our cappers, any 2, 50% off, just $114.99. You can get their insight. Go take advantage of that right now for the next 7 days. All right. Now, Nick, these Thursday night football props, like we were saying, Miami Dolphins, they've been phenomenal this season, but they're a little bit unsure if Tua Tagovailoa is going to play. So what are some of the props you like in this game?
Yeah, this one was a little bit of a pain to figure out because there's not many props. There was only Cincinnati props when I was looking at it for actual player props. So I was looking at maybe Joe Burrow interception or something along those lines, but I wasn't going to try to reach just because that's the only things they had here. So I came up with a couple game props here. The first one I'm going to touch on is a little bit of a correlation with what my actual bet in this game is, which is the under 47.5. So I think it's going to be over 7 minutes for them to get their first score. Generally, primetime games, I mentioned it when we were just talking about the Buccaneers game, those generally trend towards the under. So I can see a low-scoring game in this one here, and it taking over 7 minutes for the first points to be scored. I'm hoping for this to be like 3-0 at the end of the first, and maybe that comes in like the 12th or 13th minute, because we don't know Tua's status at the moment. And Miami defense is not that bad. They were able to hold Buffalo to 17 points last week or something along those lines. So this is a good defense. So I can see this being a lower scoring, slow start. Thursday's a short week, so you don't get the greatest of playbooks for that. So the first one there was the over the 7 minutes, which also kind of correlates with the no 3 straight scores. I think this could be a low scoring game. So I can see this being 14-7, something along that line, and you don't get the same team scoring 3 times in a row. I can see this being a lower scoring, grinded out game. So there. And if you guys want to take a small sprinkle here, I saw this prop and I thought it was kind of interesting. It happened last week for the Dolphins, so why not try to take a stab at it here? I'm going to take plus 900 for there to be a safety in this game. I can see potentially this Miami defense being able to create pressure on Joe Burrow. And if I think this game is going to go under, I can see this being a little bit of what we saw with San Francisco and Denver, a little bit of a punt fest, which we can get pins inside the 5. And maybe if you get a little pressure on Burrow, he goes down in the end zone and bam, you got plus 900 with the safety.
Could be likely to happen with the state of their offensive line so far.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
It's supposed to be better, but really hasn't impressed me that much. Okay, if Tua Tagovailoa does play though, right? So I like all of your props. Are you taking an anytime touchdown score or a certain amount of receptions with Tyreek Hill? He said he was going to take a chance and get the ball to him.
Yeah, I would say no, strictly because I don't like to not correlate myself, and kind of taking anytime touchdown scores when you bet an under just doesn't feel right because you're expecting them to be a low scoring game. So you're kind of threading the needle a little bit too much there for my liking. So I would say no to anytime touchdown scores strictly because I like the under in this game.
All right. I like to hear it. I don't know. If Tua plays, I might be persuaded to take that one just because I'm rooting for that to happen. That matchup is going to be so fun to watch. And Tyreek Hill was already talking smack. So, and Tua has faith in him. He's going to be launching the ball downfield. So I don't know. I kind of like that. I'm looking for an explosive play, at least 1 or 2 from them at that point. If Tua does play, this is all dependent on that, in my opinion. If not, I think Joe Burrow and the Bengals could be the team that takes down the Dolphins this week, unfortunately. Thank you so much for your insight, Nick. It's always fun talking football with you, one of my favorites. Make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. Picks and Parlays Power Hour is live Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss us in the weeks to come. We look forward to having you join us each and every day, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern.